Good morning, friends. It is that time once again. Welcome to D23 Expo 2024. You ready to do this again?
Let's do it.
Kenny and I are at it again. Let's go, guys. The real reason we're all here, tote bags. So it begins. A little bit of a bumpy start this morning. Got here early and had to be immediately turned away from security. So I had to go back to the car, drop off my props, get back in line, and now I'm separated from my party. But that is okay because I brought friends with me. My friend Riley, Rad Cosplay, is here.
Hello.
We're gonna have a great day today. Let's make it count.
First time ever seeing things eye to eye.
D23.
So we're finally walking in. All right, so it's 9 o'clock. We're waiting for the chaos to ensue. They haven't opened the doors yet, and it's really hot, so it'd be really nice if they could let us in.
It's very warm. It's so hot.
It's about 9:30. We're still waiting outside. It's hot. But we're gonna get into it. Just to give you guys an idea, this is what our crowd's looking like right now. You look all the way in the back, there's people behind the fountain as well. Pretty big group. Now we wait. All right, folks, we're in.
So cute. So cute. Those are fun.
Oh, they are.
Oh,
It definitely keeps you busy.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Chewy. So after waiting in 5 lines, we managed to get a little bit of merch. So the first thing is this wonderful Princess and the Frog vinyl that's actually signed by the Princess Tiana herself, which I love. And then we were able to snag a copy of the Goofy Movie on vinyl that's actually signed by Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy. So this is not a bad way to start D23.
Yes. We'll do little characters a little bit because I kind of rushed past them earlier. Let's see. So look, this is D23. We got Mando. We got Jesse. We got Joey. We got, oh my god, I can't remember that guy's name. He's from the movie Soul. Turning around.
And it half and half. But yeah, I've done Elsa a couple times.
That's cool.
I kind of hate Elsa.
Really? Why?
Because it's been how long? Like 10 years since Frozen especially, and like these kids are still Disney. And she's not that great of a character. She just has magic. Like, and they don't care about Anna. Anna saves the day. She has great songs. She's funny. She's brave. And the kids are like, screw you, Anna. Where's your sister with the magic hands? And I'm like, justice for Anna.
Made it to Star Wars meetup.
Guys look great. And if you're part of our fabulous film crews, you guys get set up because we're going to start in just a moment.
Yes, so good. Everyone's slaying so hard. Yeah, I don't know even who. Oh, look, there he is. There's Matt, the radar technician. Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Star Wars, incredibly Star Wars, incredibly Star Wars.
Star Wars, Star Wars. You're welcome for this amazing audio I'm giving you.
Say Gouda. Setter, there we are. Sorry, I'm not a setter expert. In outer space.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just an earthling. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Star Wars. Oops, I didn't think this was on purpose.
Yes, Star Wars. Slay. Princess Leia, more like Princess Leia. Yes.
Excited, come on. Come on, show us that excitement.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank y'all so much.
That's my job. He's got to roll with time. Generally,
Well, my friend, that is thank you so much for taking time out of your tour. Moments in between where we'll show you how some of the magic happens from these shows. Thank you so much, my friends. We will see you soon.
We're in the Pandora Avatar experience. We're gonna have some fun. You look a little blue.
I'm feeling a little blue.
What about you, Kenny?
a little blue. Yeah.
Just a little. Nothing little Pandora can't fix. The funny thing is,
Some director. We're going this way.
feisty today.
He's so cute. I love him. Thank you, Mickey, for all that you do.
Managed to get a store reservation, shockingly enough.
I like that says the water. That's my Mickey Mouse voice. Oh yes. Yes, Percy Jackson. Oh yeah, the Mary. We love Legos. Oh, hi there.
What is that? I don't know.
Mickey Mouse.
Riley's excited by the Lego dresses.
He designed the solo car that is brand new and featured in the D23 marketplace. So if you guys want to you can do that right over here in just 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you guys will be able to be adding this Lego brand new
We go match it. Some are a little more intricate than others. Right? Look at this one. This one's gonna be really difficult.
Yeah, we have a Disney Princess mural over here by Lego, and these parts correspond with it. Your job is to find the colors that match your piece, put them all on,
Oh yeah.
and then add them to the mosaic. Just
Here,
finished my
do it again.
Lego.
Pen and make it too bright.
Go put it on.
Lego Master. Oh God, I'm drawing it. You got this. I have faith in you. The stress, man. All right.
It stays a little bit easier.
That's right.
We contributed to art.
False alarm. The line's really long, so we're gonna go back downstairs and we'll come back later. Hey,
Here is your awesome card
very much.
and the first anniversary pin. I don't know if it's right side up. There
Thank
you
you
go.
so much. Acquired.
And then on the inside we got the scenes play in the middle. It'll light up. And then if you push this one, it'll light up on the sides.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it comes with C3, R2D2. It comes with Rex on the inside. And then there is another mystery droid that comes in the box, but I have no clue what it is. Yeah.
So cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's so cool. Aww. It's adorable.
I love Star Wars. It should play on it. And then it does have audio as well.
Now it's time for one and only panel today. Goofy. Okay, let's try it again. Time for the one and only panel today. We're gonna go check out what's going on with the behind the scenes look at a Goofy movie. We're gonna see Goofy himself be a farmer. Let's go. I mean, it makes sense. It's,
Oh. Yeah.
why would they
Okay.
ask him this? I get it too.
Welcome to the Walt Disney Archive stage. Here at D23, the ultimate Disney fan event.
Hey, Walt Disney Archive stage patrons. Welcome. So glad to see so many of you out there, and I'm so glad we have a much bigger stage to celebrate the Goofy movie today. Yeah. How many of you, or any of you here in 2015 when we did the 20th anniversary? There was standing room only. Well, now we have a much bigger audience, so we're really excited to welcome all of you here. I am so thrilled to be here on the Walt Disney Archive stage and hosting, along with the archive staff, these wonderful presentations. Today we have celebrated fabulous pigs, South American birds, and now it is something that we're going to join in and celebrate extremely goofy goofs. Really exciting. To kick us off and to host tonight's panel, we have a very special, he used to be a legendary producer of things like a Goofy movie, as well as a few other that you might recognize, but now he is a Disney legend. So please put your hands together and welcome Don Hahn.
Thank you. Please, thank you. Thank you, and welcome. Oh man, we have a packed house today of Goofy fans, and there's nothing like you guys. We are so glad you're here because we have an exciting hour ahead for you of nonsense. Listen, I love this movie, and I was lucky enough to produce movies like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, and I had a little girl in 1990. Thank you. It's my brother. I produced those movies and had a little girl in 1991. She's grown up now, and when she was growing up, I said, "Oh, what's your favorite movie?" It was Beauty and the Beast, the Goofy movie. And my little girl Emily loves the Goofy movie, and so do I. And we have the filmmakers for you today, but we're approaching the Goofy movie today in kind of a different way because there's a new documentary out that is never been seen before, and you guys are going to see some clips of it for the first time today of any audience ever. To tell us about that, I'm going to bring out our filmmakers who have made this documentary so special. Please welcome them to the archive stage. Here's Chris Ninnis and Eric Hamilton. Chris and Eric, come on. Now, you guys, we have not known each other except for the last maybe 6 months or so, and I've become big fans of what you've done because you made this film out of thin air, and which breeds the question, why have you made a film about the Goofy movie?
Well, first and foremost, we're just huge Goofy movie fans. You know,
thank you, sir.
In 2020, when the pandemic happened, we had some free time. And Disney Plus had just launched, and they put out this really wonderful documentary about Frozen 2 called Into the Unknown. And I love a good Disney documentary. I love to see behind the curtain how things are made. I'm just fascinated by the process. And I was obsessed with documentaries that you made, Waking Sleeping Beauty, or the Howard Ashman documentary. And I remember finishing up watching Into the Unknown and thinking, man, I wish something like this existed for a Goofy movie. Just something in depth and behind the curtain that people have never seen before. And so I called up Eric and I said, would you want to maybe figure out a way to do this with me? You know, maybe Kevin would want to go on camera and just talk for a little bit. I don't know what this would be. I have no idea.
And at that point, I just said yes.
That was it. Thank you.
It's everything you're going to see today is still a work in progress, but to be able to share it with you here today is just so special for us. It's been a really long journey, and we're really excited to show it.
It's the first time we've ever shown it.
Yeah. All right, here it is. Let's take a look, and then we'll be back with the filmmakers.
We're talking about 26 years now, so I'm going to try to remember back to when all this happened.
This is Kevin Lima, the director of the Goofy movie.
I was the first-time director. I first time had a story, first-time lead editor. I thought we had the opportunity to make a John Hughes movie in animation. Let's make a movie that is about contemporary teenagers, as opposed to what feature animation was doing, which was all talking animal movies and fairy tales. Even though these are kind of talking animal movies.
All right, guys, let's do this.
Jeffrey Katzenberg was talking about going on a vacation with his daughter, and they weren't quite getting along, and he thought that might be an interesting subject matter for the story of Goofy and Max.
A father who's worried about his son and where he's going.
I know there were production challenges. We were doing it in reduced sort of capacity.
When you look back in time at it, there was something, pretty magical about the whole thing.
The magic trick of animation was getting you to feel for it. There is that universal connection that people end up having. You can't ask for more than that. I would love to have them be moved by who Goofy is and by how he relates to his son.
Do it, major.
Disney didn't know what they had.
It was different.
I love this movie.
It was the voice of a generation.
Okay, you can go now. You're going to do the street shot again.
Original Goofy movie who are with us today. Welcome to the stage. First, the head of story, one of our story artists on the Goofy movie, Steve Moore, is with us. Come on out, Steve. Welcome. Please. Oh man. Also with us today, is also an incredible storyteller who's worked on so many of the Disney classics. Here is Brian Pimental. Welcome, welcome. Next on our stage is the editor, and this is going to be good because we can find out finally what an editor does. My friend Greg Perler is here today. The director of the Goofy movie, who happens to be the director of a couple movies like Tarzan and Enchanted. Woo! That's another day and another panel. Here is Kevin Lima. Woo! Welcome, Kevin. And we have one chair left. It wouldn't be a panel about this documentary or the Goofy movie without this next guest. Here is Bill Farmer, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's take a seat. Yes. Feel free to shout your affections to the gentleman on the stage. And we've lined them up in order of their caricatures here, as you can see, just so you can identify them clearly. This movie is something that has just warmed the audience's heart for almost 25 years. Kevin, that's it been? You guys have been on it longer, but 30 years. 30 years next year. And wow. So I'm going to start with you, Kevin. Well, yeah, I know, and you can see in this crew photo here that most of us are unchanged. And
was developing the picture, and Steve and I came on as visual development artists. I was doing some storyboards, you were doing some beat boards, and I had left the studio because I wanted to direct, and there was no room at the inn, and I got a phone call one day. And they asked whether or not I'd consider taking over the directing duties on the piece. Thank you.
Kindly. It was a fringe production almost. It was seen as something that wasn't part of the main animation building, which was doing kind of the Beauties and Lion Kings and Aladdins, which are amazing movies. Everybody knew what you were doing, but it was really done on a shoestring budget, and and under difficult circumstances, which is one of the reasons I love this documentary so much, because you guys just put a spotlight on how hard the creative process is. And kind of the genesis of how that started out and how hard the journey can be sometimes. And it starts out with a pitch, like how do you guys first start out presenting it to executives? Jeffrey Katzenberg was at the studio at the time. We're actually going to show you a clip from the movie, how of this pitch process and how it started out. You guys want to talk about why you selected that and kind of how you got into this documentary?
Well, one reason I absolutely love this clip is because it portrays a character that you guys will all know, I believe, and it really seems like a playful way to kind of discuss how hard getting this movie tonally right was.
Initially, I was brought on to do storyboards, and they had this project. It was a Goof Troop movie. His Goof Troop was a TV series.
Woo!
They were going through a reboot, and they had brought Jerry Reese on. Jerry had recommended me, and they had me come on and do some exploratory boards. Put Goofy in some situations and locations where he can have a setup, and then disaster happened. They took the Goof Troop thing, they stripped it all away, all these ancillary characters, and just made it Goofy and his son. And we had this big pitch to Jeff Katzenberg. In this meeting, it was either going to get greenlit or it was going to get killed. I go in and with the guys, and they've got the beat boards hung up. It was a sequence that was very funny, got big laughs. Some assistant comes in and lines up all these Diet Cokes for Jeffrey, and whether he was going to drink them or throw them, I don't know.
And just how nervous and frightened everybody was. Jeffrey's coming, Jeffrey's coming.
He comes in a big rush, he's got all these people around him. He sits down, he's looking, and I get 4 panels in, and he goes, hang on a second, is this how this whole thing's gonna be? And I'm like, what do you mean? Is it all gonna be gags? And I said, well, Gary Kreisel, who's the president of it, and he jumps in there, and he goes, yeah, well, this was some goofy syndrome, and he cuts it off. Says, no, I don't wanna see this. Anybody can do this. I don't need to see this. He goes, I want to see the heart. I want to see the heart. so I'm standing there. Now, I didn't realize it because I'm showing the boards, but he had scanned that entire board in the time it took me to do those 4 panels. So he saw where that was going, and he was like, no. So I was dismissed. I almost killed the Goofy movie right then and there.
Pitching to any executive is a challenge. Jeffrey was a brilliant executive and really challenged you guys and all of us at that time. But Steve, tell us about that day and many other days like it when you were standing in front of Jeffrey or similar executives.
Well, what I didn't realize at the time was that we found this later. We heard Jerry Reese interviewed later, and he talked about.
Yes.
He talked about that he kind of knew
it
was going to go that way.
Really, Jerry Reese, who famously directed Brave Little Toaster and many other amazing pieces of animation. Yes. And so Jerry was looking at his crystal ball. And
Jerry wanted me to do these exploratory boards where it would be a setup and, like a national park kind of thing. And then Goofy inadvertently destroys Yosemite or destroys Red.
Yeah.
And he leaves and he doesn't even know it. And so we were doing these kind of things. And 30 years later, I find out that Jerry didn't want to go that way, but he was doing this because Gary Kreisel wanted that.
But you guys, all you guys, Brian, all you guys that worked on story, it would be intuitive to make a comedy with Goofy, would it not? Or am I off base? I don't know.
Yeah, right from the start, we thought it was a comedy.
Yes.
But then, he really pushed on the heart. Like, he wanted us to dig deeper. He wanted it to feel like a real father-son relationship. And
right.
It made sense in hindsight, but at the time it was like, but we're not going to be able to do what we're used to seeing Goofy do. It's like, you'll be able to do both. But
Well, it's hard because if you think about it, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, those characters are seldom in features, perhaps because of that. I mean, Kevin, putting those characters in a feature-length thing must have been really challenging for all you guys.
Yeah, and in fact, most of my contemporaries were upset with me for bringing deep emotion to Goofy. They didn't understand, because it had never been really a part of his character up to that point.
Yeah.
But we all really felt like the only way to survive a 75-minute journey was to have there be some strong emotion at the center of it.
For the animation, it was really important to us. Our animator who did this, it's a studio in Colombia actually, and they came up with this brilliant idea. They said, well, we should do this in the style of a Goofy movie. And right then we were like, yes, that's absolutely right. So getting the opportunity to make Kevin and Brian and Steve, all of them dogs, was really, really fun. Kind of playful.
Perfect. It writes itself.
Yeah, but in terms of archival footage, do you remember what you said to me about Kevin when we...
Oh, when we were going into the beginning of the documentary, Kevin let us know that he had a demo tape of Eye to Eye, and we thought, oh my God, like, we've made it.
That's good.
But when we went to interview Kevin for the first time, which is the first interview we did for the film, we did like a morning session of an interview, and then Kevin goes down to his basement. And then Chris comes running up and he's like, you're never gonna believe it. And there's just a treasure chest of...
He pulls out a box of 50 plus tapes from his personal collection, and some of it from his personal camera, which is also in the box, of stuff he shot behind the scenes back from 1992 to 1995.
Wow.
I can't tell you the number of times my wife wanted me to throw that box away.
VHS tapes, audio tapes.
Cassette tapes.
Yeah, which for the younger people in the audience, it's a small rectangular thing, and you used to rewind it with a pencil, you used to stick it in.
And I think I had some high 8 tapes as well.
Wow.
And I had just been, we were very fortunate to go to France for the production of this movie, which we'll get to, but I said, boy, I have to record some of this. I have to record what's going down, because the studio wasn't doing it. And I thought, okay, I've got to take this on myself.
Like, you're like, oh, Kevin said it maybe differently. But on this project, everyone remembered everything exactly the same, which makes it really easy. And there was a story that they told collectively that totally blew Eric and our brains. It's just, it was so mind-baffling to us.
And so that discovery is in this next clip. Let's take a look.
There's a story that goes around about Bill having to do the whole movie in his own voice. We had recorded the entire movie, many sessions with Bill as Goofy. And we showed the movie to Jeffrey Katzenberg.
At the end of the screening, and he just was like, the voice isn't working for him. And we're like, what do you mean it's Goofy? And I'm like, yeah, does it have to be? I think he really found put-on voices insincere. He wanted the character to have a range, and in the beginning, it was just kind of Goofy from the shorts.
And he had this great idea. What if Steve Martin were Goofy? Wouldn't that be fabulous? Imagine how you could sell that. That would be great. And I think I asked Jeffrey, I said, so that means you want Steve Martin to do the Goofy voice? No. He's going to use his own voice so that we know who he is. And I said to Jeffrey, before you even think about this, let me go back into it with Bill, and we'll record a bunch of the scenes with Bill doing it in his own voice. Because I knew, how can you make a Goofy movie, or how can you play Goofy with just a regular person's voice? That would be like having Mickey Mouse, right, speak with Cary Grant's voice. It's just incredibly ridiculous. But we had to, because he's the boss, Jeffrey's the boss, we had to go and try something.
They came to me and said, well, they think that your voice sounds too cartoony. Jeffrey Katzenberg wants you to do the voice in your voice. And I say, you don't want me to go, or anything like that, just talk like I'm talking now? Yeah.
So I brought Bill and Jason in the room, and I said, listen guys, we have to try this. And Bill has a complete meltdown.
I went home and I didn't get much sleep those days because I was worried, don't they want to hear Goofy when they hear a Goofy movie?
We have to prove to Jeffrey that it's a bad idea.
So we did several days of recording in my voice, more as an experiment, I suppose.
And we did it. We showed it to him. I said, I'm not behind this, Jeffrey. And we didn't do it. Jeffrey said, I agree with you. We should do it. This is how the whim of a studio executive can change a movie in a moment if you don't fight back against a bad idea. Bad idea.
I remember those times. I remember those.
There's only one person I want to hear from right now. Here's Bill Farmer.
Oh. No, that was the roughest part. As is outlined in the documentary, yes, that was a rough time for me. I came into the project kind of from the outside as a voice artist. You're just hired to go in and do the lines, and you don't see all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, which is what this documentary deals with, and I had no idea. I remember them coming to me and saying, yeah, they think you sound too cartoony. They want you to, they don't want me to go, gosh, howdy. You know, they want me to just use my, hi, howdy, hey Max, how are you doing? And I had to do that, and I didn't get much sleep during those days. That was really rough, and thank God they changed their minds, and we worked on that movie for about two and a half years, something like that. And we did the sequel, an extremely goofy movie, in about 4 days. So it was like in recording. But we went back and back and back. We went around the barn, clear around the equator of the earth, to that barn, and discovered a fantastic movie that has stood the test of time and is more popular now than it's ever been, really.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks to you guys. I'm glad you like it.
We love you, Bill.
He's still in there after all these years.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So yes, please, once again, please feel free to shout out your admiration. So you read it through in your own voice, and then does that come into, like, Greg, did you cut all those together every time and like make something to show to Kevin and then Jeffrey and that kind of thing? And the amazing thing is, you did it in good faith. You weren't trying to subterfuge, like, make sure it didn't work. You're actually making a genuine effort to do it, even though none of you believed in it. Is that true?
Yeah, and immediately you could tell this was something else.
Hot tub sequence is, I think, came from those sessions.
There's a hot tub sequence? Sorry, I haven't seen it in a while.
And he is the most real, if you want to put quotations around real, in that scene. I think he feels the most like you.
It sounded the most like me, which bothered me when I first saw it, because I thought, that's too much me. I'm not doing enough Goofy. I was trying to split between me and Goofy to give the Goofy qualities and still have the nurturing father and the worry and all of the reality that the scene needed. And over the years, I've come to love that scene because it is the most real and heartfelt of, and the kind of the depth that Goofy's emotions can go. And that was difficult to add because in Goof Troop, which was my first series before the Goofy movie, we really, it was Saturday morning kind of high energy fun. And we didn't have to add layers of emotion to this character that he never had before. That was the hard part. And I'm glad that we stuck through it and did this over a couple of years and many recording sessions to add that depth of emotion, and because it stands the test of time.
And we maybe wouldn't have gotten to that point if we hadn't gone through what we went through.
Yeah, isn't it true?
We realized that there's a spectrum to the character, and that we can go to the high antics and the gag Goofy, and we can also go to the emotional dad.
Yeah, he did have an emotional life, and it played well. And kudos to everybody on this movie, because it's not easy to make a movie, and I learned more of it. I didn't know they were recording me when we were filming me. I had no idea, and I see the pictures here. Oh my gosh, how young did I look? I'm old now, but it's definitely a highlight of my career. It really is. It is definitely a highlight of my career, and an honor to be in this movie, and thanks to all the fans who have made it bigger and bigger every year since then. And I think it's even more popular now than it was then, and that's a very rare thing to say.
It is. Different for you than the original movie you signed up to?
Well, we took turns on these boards. So we would work on something, and Brian would work over it, and these kind of things. And I remember working on there was a sequence with the Bigfoot, when they're stuck in the car.
Yes.
And there's the Hey Dad soup thing.
Yeah.
And I'd done a pass where, doing a goofy gag where he uses his teeth to open a can. And I threw the line in where he says, "Where'd you learn that?" And he goes, "Oh, in the Army." Just throwing that. So then it goes to Brian, and it gets turned into something that is like this heartfelt and it's got you crying at the end of it thing, to where, to contrast my just stupid little Army gag, he turns it into this wonderful, beautiful thing.
But it indicated there's a whole backstory to Goofy that we've never heard about, which is part of the fun of the movie. Like maybe he was in the Army.
So, there was a lot of that, just the collaborative effort with that, where you're putting something down and then shaping it. And of course, Kevin was driving the whole time. I mean, we would sit in his office, and when I'd get a new sequence or whatever, and we'd sit and we'd go through it and say, go the script, and what do you want to do here? What do you want to do here? And we just spitball ideas. And
I think it just was about again, it was playing the moment more real, being subtle with it,
Right.
And we, like you said, we had all the other antics and all that, but it was a chance to kind of push yourself as a story artist, because you had to do small little exchanges and looking back and forth at each other. I don't know, I like those kind of scenes anyway in movies, and so it was fun to do it, actually. And I remember at one time it was called ABC Soup, and that was one of Jeffrey's things. You gotta age this up. It's so now Hi Dad was a little bit older than ABC.
It's good. Well, you guys put that in your documentary in a really special way, and let's show it, and then we'll talk a little bit about that.
And a little cigarette lighter has been pressed in, and it pops out.
Well, it's nice to know this thing's good for something.
And he goes to place it underneath the can to heat the can of the little cigarette lighter. I know it's an impossible thing to do, but maybe in the cartoon we can sort of get away with it. So we thought we'd play out the silence of the moment of the two of them waiting. They both turn away, like they catch each other looking at each other.
What's so funny? Hi Dad's soup. Huh? Don't tell me you don't remember Hi Dad's soup.
And this is a real endearing thing for Goofy. It's a real nice memory.
You used to spell things out using letters like Hi Dad or Maxie or ambidextrous. Yeah, that's no little words like hasta la vista, like bye bye. Or I pledge allegiance.
And Goofy doesn't catch himself.
Or I love you.
And he realizes that maybe he's saying the wrong thing at the wrong moment. He and his kid aren't getting along very well right now. Because at the moment, they're sort of grappling with this whole sort of I love you thing.
Is it soup yet? Ooh, almost forgot. Whoa, where'd you learn to do that? Your granddad taught me that when we went to Yosemite. You two did a lot together, huh? Yup.
So it's something that he and his dad shared. Throughout the movie, overall, we're trying to play up all these ideas that Goofy is sharing things that he learned from his dad.
My dad listened to my Not bad. Not.
Goofy sort of remembering.
What? Nothing.
And I think he feels a little bit of the pain of what's going on between he and Maxie right now. I think one of the biggest things in their relationship is communication, that they really don't have the ability to talk to each other. That perhaps they've both grown a little distant, that they haven't talked a lot recently.
Well, we might as well get some shut-eye. I don't think we're going anywhere tonight.
Looks down in the cup, kind of, what's left in the bottom of it. The cup comes in, he takes it, he looks into it, and it says, "Hunt." A big step for Maxie.
Why, Maxie?
And then we're out. We see Bigfoot sneaking on the car. He loves his son more than anything in the world. There needs to be a lot of sensitivity in the end of this sequence. This is really the first point that Maxie and Goof have come together. Don't be afraid to be subtle. It isn't a big, huge, goofy, moment of sort of flamboyant overacting. So this is really a sincere, subtle, facial expressions say much more than what they're even saying to each other. There's a whole sort of hidden text of what's going on underneath the scene. We got to try to get that to the facial expressions. People don't always say what they're thinking, and I think a lot of that's in the scene.
They're having their first father-son kind of coming together, learning about each other. He's feeling more for Goofy, and Goofy's feeling for Max, even though there's a Bigfoot outside with underwear on his head.
Bye. Here, we're gonna do the streaky shot again.
I have almost never seen a clip like that of a director directing in an animated film, and you guys must have come unglued when you found it. What did you, when you first found that clip? It's a masterclass of what an animation director does, which is a head scratcher to a lot of people. But that's so clear. Talk a little bit about your choice of putting it in the movie, but also side by side with the boards.
Yeah, well, a Goofy movie means so much to us because on an emotional level, it hit us at the time, a pivotal moment in our lives. I was 5 years old when a Goofy movie came out, and I wasn't really...
Like the rest of us, yeah.
Yeah. And there was a time in my life where I wasn't speaking to my father as much, and we weren't connecting. And Hi Dad Soup has always been my favorite scene in a Goofy movie. And I could never quite articulate why I loved it so much. And this was the first scene we actually edited for the documentary when we found this footage. We were going through those tapes, and this one tape of Kevin, what he was doing, just so you guys have some context, is he would film himself and send the tapes off to Paris because he was in Burbank. And that's how he would be able to direct them. And he's breaking down the scene beat by beat, and I would watch this over and over and over because it was the first time I got to really hear someone articulate how I was feeling as a kid. And it makes the scene even better for me now as a, 35-year-old. And that's just means a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Like Jason Marsden played Max. I remember the first day working with him thinking, this kid's good. He's a great actor. So I was following him a lot on how to act real. And still a great friend. We see each other quite often still.
Yeah.
And he is like a second son to me in a way. He just embodied that character, and it's his real voice. It's pretty much his real voice. And
he was. I remember in the beginning, he was like, "So I'm going to do my version of Kid Goofy."
Okay.
And we said, no. We want you to be a real kid, right? That was important to us. And he like you having to play it real. He was scratching his head as well because how is this going to work? I can't do this. But we love the quality of he felt contemporary to us.
Yeah.
And with the movie, we got the opportunity to move Max from being in junior high to high school. So we took that opportunity then to age up the voice. Yeah. That's why we brought Jason in. And a lot of the voices came over from the television show.
Right,
Remember
right.
correct?
Of course, Jim Cummings is Pete. I mean, and the songs too. I mean, it was a musical too. On top of all this other emotionality and everything, the songs were a big part of it as well.
Right, right. Well, often, I mean, what they say about music, and you probably all heard this before, is that when people can no longer speak, they sing. Right? And we had a movie that had a lot of unspoken sort of dynamics going on, so we were really, really lucky to pull that forward. I mean, and then, you know, we started going after contemporary comedians. And there's Pauly Shore. Yeah. We started to talk about that character and who exists in 1995 who was the epitome of that kind of character.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, we got away with a stoner. You know, Disney.
I do not know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Was in the movie, and he was once a much bigger character. I think he has one line in the movie currently, because we just, as you know, we go through the movie and we hone, and that character was no longer needed.
You talk about musicals and this being a musical and the songs and how they tell the story. There's one song in this movie that I absolutely adore that's cut like a music video, and that's Eye to Eye. Greg Perler. There's so much about an editor in this process of animation that is a creative collaborator, that is a musician, that is a storyteller, but every once in a while you get something like Eye to Eye that is a multifaceted bunch of components that have to fit together in 2 minutes. When that started to fall onto your desk, what was that like?
It was a lot. Trying to keep the story going, intercutting between the story that was Goofy and Max getting into the stadium and showing Powerline was a really delicate balancing act.
I bet.
We were editing on film at the time. Now, obviously, we do it all digitally.
Film, once again, for the younger people in the audience, is a clear strip with a silver coating on it. Back to you.
But it was very, I just remember it was very thoroughly boarded.
Steve Moore.
Steve Moore?
And we could,
right.
It eventually all came together. The song was kind of so perfect. We never really edited the song or anything like that. And there's a modulation in the song at a certain point, and we said, okay, that's when they come together on stage. And you just basically work backward from there. But some of the shots in there are like blink and you miss them.
In the whole movie, what's the hardest sequence you had to do?
Hardest sequence to pull together was probably Eye to Eye. Just because of the number of effects, all the lighting, it was incredibly complex. We had live action reference.
So we choreographed this whole Eye to Eye thing here on this little sound stage in Burbank. We got a video camera guy, and he's going to take this small group of dancers doing the Powerline sequence. We couldn't have done what we did in the animation without it.
Oh my God!
So it's just like a white background, and it's got a grid on the ground, so the animators, when they see the footage, they can get a sense of the space. And he had these dancers, and we had a video camera operator guy who was running around setting up all the angles. He was matching shot for shot the animatic.
So all of that had to come together, and we did multiple passes each time we got a new element.
So we had a guy who was Powerline, he was the choreographer who was Powerline. And he was the one who was doing all the slip moves. And then we had another guy who was doing those same moves, but as Goofy would do it.
Hey, Dad! Do the perfect cast!
he's putting a little more flap in the arms and all this. And then we had the shorter guy doing it as Max would. So he's doing it as a teenage boy version of Goofy doing Powerline. And you see the footage, and you've seen the footage, and it worked. You see the three of them dancing together, it was like, holy crap, these guys are brilliant.
It's kind of extraordinary.
Not Netflix, sir, really. Thank you. But they are encouraging, and the lesson to be learned there is you guys made a great movie, and now people want it. They want to see it. So on that front, we're not ready to announce anything today, except as fans, if you have anything of encouragement to express to these gentlemen and their colleagues in terms of seeing this movie out there, thank you. We welcome audiences of all ages. But I love that clip. I love the energy to it. I love the detail to it, and it shows what each of you has done so brilliantly in this movie at pretty much every turn. We have a couple of surprises before we adjourn today, because why not? This film is very much about parents and their kids. And those of you in that position know what that feels like. You know how difficult it is and how wonderful it is, and know kind of the joy of parenthood. You guys have illustrated that on the screen in a way that audiences have enjoyed now for almost 30 years. So certainly on behalf of all of us as an audience, we want to say thank you for that. We'd like to apologize to Jeffrey Katzenberg. No, I don't mean Jeffrey.
We call that caricature Jeffrey Dogsenberg. That's not. Yeah, that's
not him.
No.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, glad we cleared that up. Parenthood is a great thing, isn't that right? Something special happened in your life 5 days ago.
So I became a father on Sunday. Today she's 5 days old.
5 days old, what's her name?
Her name is Emma, and it is so surreal to be thinking about this movie in terms of fathers and sons and children and parents, and the journey of making the documentary with Eric and these fine people, and to have it crescendo to D23 and to be a father now is incredibly surreal and emotional and wild. And she's definitely growing up on a Goofy movie.
Bill, your son Austin is a drummer, a percussionist, a musician, and a pretty cool guy. And you've certainly had you've been a great dad, obviously, to him. What has this movie meant to you in terms of that sense of parenthood?
Oh, well, of course, when you are voice acting or acting just in general, you have to use memories to kind of help you along in scenes. And so whenever I was talking to Max during the recording of a Goofy movie, I was thinking of my son Austin. He was about 5 years old when the movie came out. He was born in '89. So he's always thought that doing voiceovers is like a real job. You know?
Which we all know it's not. Yeah.
I know. I remember we were in Florida, and his granddad said he had to go off. Well, I got to go off to work, and he said, "Well, what voice do you do?" He thinks this is a normal way to make a living, but it's not. But he grew up with it, and he is a wonderful. Actually, it's so funny. I shouldn't even say this. He'll hate me for this. Austin, his middle name's Robert. My middle name is Robert. And farmer, so his initials are ARF. Oh, very appropriate for someone who does a dog for a living, you know.
That's very touching.
And we saw the movie together on the screening room. I think it was Walt's screening room in the animation building. And Austin got to go with me, and I mean, Jeffrey Katzenberg was there, and Michael Eisner was there, and I'm kind of sweating it. I hope they like this movie and everything, and it was still partly pencil test, which means it hadn't been really animated, fully animated with color and paint and all of that stuff. And when the lights came on, my son was crying a little bit, and I said, "What's the matter, buddy? Didn't you like the movie?" And he said, "Well, when Goofy went over the waterfall, I thought that was you." So I knew the movie had heart from that moment on. And he has been such he's a great musician, he's a great drummer, and as a matter of fact, he's here today, actually. I should probably bring him out if it's okay.
Austin, are you here?
It's actually, yeah, come on out. I thought we'd do something. Since Austin is, in fact, my real Max. And Jason Marsden, who's my movie son, Max.
TV Max, movie Max.
And he is not here today.
Right.
We're going to put you to work.
Yes, I understand.
And what we are going to do, we're going to do a little Goofy karaoke, if it's okay. Nobody Else But You is one of the movie's signature songs between Goofy and his son. And no better one to sing it with, no one better than you to sing it with.
Well
so
said.
we're going to try it tonight. Is that okay? Okay. See if we can get this here. We'll give it a shot here. We've had kind of a quick run through, but we haven't done it all the way. So let's give this a shot. This is. Yep.
There are times you drive me, shall we say, bananas, and your mind is missing, no offense, a screw.
I'm taken.
Still, whatever mess I land in, will always be understanding, nobody else but you.
Oh, your moodiness is now and then bewildering, and your values may be, so to speak, askew.
Gesundheit.
Thanks. Who deserves a hero's trophy as we face each catastrophe? Nobody else but you. Nobody else but you. It's just our luck. We're stuck together. Nobody else but you is crazy enough to believe we'll come through.
So your jokes are all, let's face it, prehistoric.
And your music sounds like monkeys in a zoo. But when life becomes distressing, who will I be SOSing?
If you're having trouble guessing, here's a clue. Though he seems intoxicated, he's just highly animated, and he's nobody else but
nobody else but you. We've turned into a true blue duo. Hard times we've had a few, like we're thrown in the drink,
like we're tossed out of town.
But when I start to sink, hey, I'd rather come down with nobody else but why, oh, you.
Aw, Dad.
Thank you.
Just like last D23, they will be doing a mural, and this is the progress they've been able to make on it today. You can see the outline of this trace that they will be using. Can't wait to see it when it's done. This is the filming technology that they use in The Mandalorian and other shows. Not just Star Wars, but the fact that we can actually see real movie magic behind us and we're gonna get to interact with it. This is something I never expected, and I think I dressed it for the part. Roxanne in Star Wars. I absolutely